by and do not reflect those of the Evening Rush Network. Viewers' discretion is advised.
Welcome everybody to Live by the Three Sports Podcast on the Evening Rush Network. This is Coach Matt with my main man Tyler back. What's up, TB? How you doing, man?
I'm good, man. What's going on? You can hear me good?
Yep, I can hear you. Yeah, we we missed you last week, man. Me and Joker had to hold it down without you. Struggle.
Yeah, I appreciate it, man. When duty calls, man. You see, I'm in the car, man. I'm trying to keep it.
Got it. Pays
trying
the
to
cost
keep it alive.
Pays the cost to be the boss. You know what I mean? You big boss.
That's what they say.
Hey, listen, when it goes down, you know what I mean? You gotta make it right. You gotta make it right. Glad to get you back, man. And it's been an exciting week in sports. But before we jump into that, why don't we let the people know who are checking us out where they can find us? Streaming platforms and social media.
All streaming platforms. Find us on Amazon Fire Stick, YouTube. Instagram is Live or Live by the Three Sports Podcast. Anywhere it's streaming, that's where you can find us.
Yep. And please, everybody, download the Evening Rush Network app on all phone platforms, all digital platforms to make sure that you keep up with our show, but also the great content on the network. A lot of different programming, music, and entertainment on the Evening Rush Network, and it's a good look. So please download the app and stay tuned with us, but also the great shows on the network. So yeah, let's jump right into it, man. College basketball season is over, wrapped up this past week. Earlier in the week, the women's championship game was Sunday, and the men's championship game was Monday. What were your thoughts? We'll go. Let's go. We'll save the best to last, I'll say. So, what were your thoughts on the men's tournament overall this year, and then the Final Four, and the way that it ended up with UConn winning the championship? What were your thoughts overall about the tournament this year?
I think it was a good tournament. I'm glad UConn won it. My boy Kamani got a ring.
Yes, sir. Queen, that's Queen stand up, right? We know this,
yeah,
right?
Yeah. Queen stand up. Queen stand up.
Okay.
Queen stand up.
Left Rack's finest.
Yeah, good dude. Real good dude.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I mean, I wish it could have been a little more competitive. But that's how that's just the luck of the draw.
Well, yeah.
How do you feel about that the foul call?
In which game?
In the Final Four.
In which you talking about the San
Diego State? Yeah, when the dude got fouled at the end. What you think about that?
Yeah, but listen, it was one of those crazy things where Florida Atlantic was the better team for the whole game, right? The whole game, and then it gets down to the end of it. They keep, San Diego State gave them 1,000 chances. They kept missing their foul shots. You know what I mean? And then they came, and then they kept getting the rebounds back. You know what I mean? It was an interesting dynamic the way it played, and it was wild. So the foul gets called on the one end, and then once my man, I think Butler is his name, once he was driving and he pulled it back and pulled up, I said, "Oh, that's good." Like you can see, like when he drove it and dragged it and pulled it back and pulled up, I was like, "Oh, he made that." You know what I mean? So it was just one of those crazy things. It was a great game. Stylistically, maybe not, but just the competitiveness of it, the back and forth. It was a tight game the whole way, even though Florida Atlantic was. I mean, they were the better team for pretty much the whole game, and just came up a little bit short. And then on the other side of things, UConn just been, they rolled everybody the whole tournament.
They're tough.
They didn't have any close games, and then but to their credit, in the championship game, San Diego State got up on them. You know what I mean? That where they started off real hot, and I was interested to see UConn hadn't been tested like that in the whole tournament the whole time. But they definitely responded, and they took it to another level, kicked it up to another gear, and San Diego State couldn't keep up. So, you're right, it wasn't competitive, I'm still trying to figure out, was it not competitive or was UConn just really that good, right? And you know what I
Yeah.
mean? And it's a stark contrast between college basketball and college football, where college football, you pretty much going into the season, who's going to be playing for the national championship, but even with the playoffs and all of that, UConn was unranked to start the season.
Mm-hmm.
And then they go through the regular season, and even what were they, an 8 seed or something like that? They weren't somebody that people were picking to make it to the Final Four, let alone win the whole thing. And and then once they got in it, man, like they just were rolling cats.
Yeah, they just got the luck of the draw.
Yeah, just rolling over people. So it was an interesting. So now let me ask you this: what are your thoughts on the non-tradition? Do you think having, obviously the NCAA tournament, you have your upsets and you're opening, your first few rounds of the tournament and things like that, and it's a one single game elimination. But do you think that having, so in this Final Four, you had two teams that are from the non-power conferences, right? Which is a little bit different for basketball than it is for football, because the Big East isn't considered Power Five for football, but definitely is for basketball. But you had 2 out of the 4 teams were non, big time, whatever you want to call it. You have Florida Atlantic and you have San Diego State, and you have Miami and UConn, ACC and Big East. Do you think having those smaller teams or smaller conferences, or not as highly ranked conferences, is good for the game of college basketball? Or do you think not having those brand name teams and players that are recognizable, and do you think that do you think it's good for the game that you have that parity and that even playing field where anybody can go get hot and go on a run? Or do you think it hurts the game when you don't have the traditional powerhouses and guys with the star power playing?
I think it's good for the game because everybody gets a fair shot.
For sure.
You know what I'm saying? Like it might be good for the players, but it might not be good for the fans of certain schools, because their school is not a sure in the win. So like I guess like a Kentucky, North Carolina, like at least we get to the Sweet 16, Final 8. Now it's like we might have to get past the first round. We might not get past the first round.
Might get rocked the first round.
Yeah. So, but for players, I think I don't know if it's because of the development of players, but I just think that everything is pretty much spread out or spread even.
Yep.
So, especially, with the transfer portal, you can go wherever you want to go, things like that. But I think it's good because it's just, it's a lot to get used to, because you seeing schools that you normally wouldn't see anywhere near, the Final Four. So, I like the trend that's happening. You get people a shot, and you just even the playing field. It's not no monopolies, or nothing like that. So I like it. What about you?
I love it. I think it's great. I love watching the games. I love watching the dynamics, and to me, it's competition in purest form. You know what I mean? It's not it's not predetermined. Like, okay, yeah, if you're ranked top 5, in the country or whatever, you're pretty much guaranteed that you're going to be playing for the game. No, you got to earn it in the regular season. You got to earn it in your conference tournament, and then you got to earn it in the NCAA tournament. And the name on the front of the jersey doesn't matter. The name of the back of the jersey, doesn't matter. I was looking at it. Alabama has the number 1. The kid Victor ends up to, Victor W, kid from France. If he ends up declaring for the draft, then he'll be the number 1 pick probably, right? But then, the kid Brandon Miller from Alabama, he's projected as to be the number 2 pick in the draft, but Alabama got knocked off by San Diego State.
He's supposed to be number 2?
Yeah, that's what they're saying. So he mock drafts, right? So who really knows? But, at least in mock drafts, he's projected as the number 2 pick, but you go up against San Diego State, get knocked off. Then Arkansas has 2 guys that are projected to be in the top 10 picks. Arkansas, right? Again, mock drafts, who knows what's going to go on? Things change, workouts and all that stuff like that. But they have 2 guys that are projected to go in the top 10, and they got rocked by UConn. It wasn't even a close game. It wasn't even close. So it's like, everybody wants the star power and these guys that are, might be household names and future NBA stars. And I'm sure the marketing people and maybe CBS and all, but even that, like people talk about like, oh, it's not good for television, to have these small. But my thing is like, at a certain point, the way those TV deals are set up, does it even matter? They already got their money. You know what I'm saying? It's not like, oh, y'all didn't have, the ratings weren't that high, so CBS going to take some of that money back. Like, no, that's not. And they already sold the commercials, so it's not like, they're going to take that money back. And if you're advertising on the NCAA tournament, it's unpredictable. So, what are you going to do? That's part of it. So, yeah, I'm sure they would want the Dukes and the Kentuckys and playing, or, guys that are projected to be these high lottery picks and stuff playing because the ratings might be a little bit higher, but what are you going to do? You already cut that check. So, and you knew you're putting your money in something unpredictable. So that is what it is. But, I think for the casual fans, yeah, for them having those brand name schools and all of that and having guys that are, household names or the guys that they want to promote as being the next guys, the next NBA superstars, obviously, that brings more eyes on the game. But, I love it. I love to see, the different styles and the different teams from make a name for themselves and guys going to run. And then you never know those guys that play in those games, they might have put themselves a little, maybe NBA scouts or whatever wasn't looking at those guys and say, oh, you know what, that kid's not bad. Let's take a little deeper look at that. So I think I like that it's a wide open playing field and everybody has a fair shot.
Mm-hmm.
So that's that's my thing. Now let's go back to it a little bit with the way the tournament was set up. So there's a couple of different things that came out of it. They always talk about expanding the field, right? Like let's go to 96 teams or something like that. So I guess you say that's crazy. So you're not a fan of that. Keep it where it is. 68 is good.
I mean, 68 is a lot.
Yeah.
I mean, I think it takes away. I mean, we want parity, but also, I don't know. I just when you were just describing it, I would just participation trophies just popped into my head. You know what I'm saying? It's like, yeah, we want to have an even playing field, but you still got to earn to get in.
Right. So one of the things is basically what they would say is, and I don't know if it would truly go this way, but maybe combine it with the NIT a little bit. So now what would happen is, so for instance, here's a scenario of something one way where you would add more teams to it. So now if you win the regular season championship in your conference, say you're a low major, mid-major team, you could be the best team in your conference. You could go undefeated in the regular season. And then if you get knocked off in the conference tournament game, right, or the conference championship, you don't go to the NCAA tournament unless you maybe have a high RPI or whatever, and by some metrics they let you in. But now they say, okay, now a team like that, so you could have the team that actually wins the conference tournament and that team gets in. But then if there's a scenario where you were the best team in your league all year and you won the regular season championship, but you didn't win the tournament, now you would be in the NCAA tournament. So if it's a scenario like that where you have teams that were good get in, but they got knocked out at the conference tournament, which does happen sometimes. It happened to us when we was at Drexel. Yes, we won 27 games, won like 19 games in a row, and we lost we had 27 wins going into the selection Sunday. Won 19 games in a row before we lost in the championship game to VCU, and then ended up we didn't get into the NCAA tournament. We won the regular season championship. So that's a scenario where teams like that could still get in if they were so if it was something like that, was that something that would make it a little bit more palatable for you, or still you still not rocking with it?
What's the sense of competing there?
Well, some people might say that winning the conference tournament maybe isn't the best way to get the best teams into the tournament, because say if a team's been dominant the whole year in the regular season, say they go undefeated in their conference, and then something happens and then they end up losing in a 3-game tournament, say in their conference tournament, is just winning the conference tournament, is that a true test of who the best teams are if a team just gets hot for 3 days? and they get into the NCAA tournament, is that the best, putting the best team in the tournament?
I mean, that's I think that's the structure of the NCAA tournament is who's hot,
Absolutely. Absolutely.
who's hot.
That's fair.
You know what I'm saying? So it's like I mean, regular season titles really don't mean anything. I mean, it's the regular season. You know what I'm saying? It's not like
It's championship time. That's true.
yeah, it's not the playoffs. You know what I'm saying? You
Mhm.
win your division, you lose the first round, then you probably deserve. I mean, no disrespect to Drexel.
Well,
You
we
win.
made it to the championship game. It wasn't the
Yeah, I mean that's a little
but yeah,
different. I think if you make it to the championship game, you know what I'm saying, it might be a little different. You know what I'm saying, but
right.
if you get bounced first, second round, it's like, all right,
Yeah,
y'all ain't ready to play. Y'all don't deserve to be in the tournament.
I respect that. I respect
So
that
it depends.
situation.
It just
But
I
you
don't want to. It just takes away, man.
right. You know, yeah, I get it. You don't want to water it down too much. You definitely don't want to water it down too much.
Mm-mm.
So, so one last thing before we jump over to the women's side is do you think that the NLI stuff and the kids, being in and the NLI and the transfer portal, do you think that has helped even the playing field a little bit more? And that's maybe why you see, because it's not about building a complete team. And actually, I think that's why UConn won it, because I think UConn had the best team. Like they had guys that, they had their top players, but their role players were really good. And it felt like when you watched them play, those guys understood their roles. They didn't complain about it. If they were coming off the bench, they just came in. If my job is to come in and rebound, I rebound. If I come in and my job is to hit open shots, that's what I do. And guys just played their roles to the best of their abilities and seemed genuinely like happy with that. Now, of course, you never know what's going on the inside, but it seemed like they didn't have like selfishness or got like dudes was bought into, this is what I do and this is what I'm gonna contribute to winning, and guys was with it. And they were deep, because that, to me, that's why I felt they were blowing teams out, because they were deep.
Mm-hmm.
Because once they went to their bench, there wasn't that much drop off, and they could just keep going at people. So do you think the NLI stuff and the transfer portal has taken that away somewhat, where you don't have the same team building because the guys aren't playing with each other for as long? It's more transactional, and it's not about the group and what can I do for the group. It's more about, well, what can I do for myself, which guys have always, wanted to
Mm-hmm.
shine, of course. But do you think that the NLI and transfer portal stuff has magnified it a little bit, where now it's harder to put together a complete team? And that's where you see, these powerhouse teams getting knocked off because it's a little bit more individualistic, maybe.
I think that maybe the transfer portal.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know about the NIL thing, because most of the schools that have the most amount of money are like top schools.
Right.
So you're gonna attract that type of player. I know Miami. I think I read something. They had like 3 of them dudes.
3 guys, right? That had right.
And they did well. I mean, I don't know how they played. I don't know how they personally did well, because I think one made like almost 500,000-600,000 more than the other.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But I just think the transfer, because it's just so easy just to get up and go somewhere else.
Right.
Go there for 2 years, be like, I don't like it. Let me go to. I could be in the Big 12 for 2 years, then I go to SEC for my last 2 years.
Right.
Then I could go to the Pac-10 and get my master's.
Get the graduate.
You know what I'm saying? So I just think it's just that part. I know that part, because you can't, you're not forcing kids to stick it out.
Right.
To stick it out and grow and wait. Just like, oh, because I think, did the kid that go to St. John's, Kubel, that's my boy's son.
Yeah.
I think he just transferred to St. John's, didn't play, and now he's in the transfer portal.
Yeah. Patino.
I know Patino's, probably forced him out, but
yeah, I mean, you definitely see that. But one thing that I read, and I don't know if it's all over the map, but one thing that I read is that guys are going into the transfer portal, not necessarily because they're not playing as much as they want to. It's because they say, okay, yeah, I'm playing at this school and I might be able to get a little bit of NIL money, but if I transfer to this school, I can get more. So now it's more so, okay, you're not even making it for a playing time decision or something like that. It's more so like a business decision, like where can I get more money, for my NIL.
yeah.
So, so now again, when you do that, maybe it makes it a little bit more individualistic, and you're trying to, coach, you're trying to build a team and keep guys together for chemistry and, all of that. And then now dudes is like, yeah, well, yeah, this is cool, but I'm going over here because I could get, a little bit of a bigger check. But, maybe it's business. So,
Well, they pros. They operating like they pros.
yeah, 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 yeah.
You know,
That
they
makes sense.
pros. So
Different environment, that's for sure. But I don't, I want to switch gears. I want to talk about, so we want to talk about star power. Let's talk about, the women's game, the women's college basketball Final Four. And it was, a lot going on, through the Final Four. You had, on the one side, you had LSU against Virginia Tech. LSU was a 2 seed. Virginia Tech was a 1. LSU handled them pretty good. And then on the other side, um, you had South Carolina, who had been, the best team in the country pretty much the whole season, and they came up against Iowa with Caitlin Clark, and she went to work on them, and ended up advancing to the next round. And there was some controversy about some, what do you want to call it, trash talking, competitive, however you want to categorize it.
white privilege.
Oh, okay, white privilege. Can talk about that. And then so you had those examples that were given, and then you go to the championship game, and it's LSU against Iowa, and LSU won big, put up 100 points. Caitlin Clark still played well, but it wasn't enough. And Angel Reese, who's been a very polarizing figure in women's college basketball, had her comeuppance, and she played well, and she let everybody know about it, and let Caitlin Clark know about it, and so that became the story of the women's Final Four. So I'll ask you that question. Obviously, any publicity, you're talking about marketing and stuff like that. Any publicity is good publicity, and the ratings were up because the star power, because people wanted to see Caitlin Clark, and South Carolina is a household name in women's college basketball now. Shout out to Dawn Staley, and then on the other side you got Angel Reese and LSU. So there was a lot of star power. So that was good for the game. But how did you feel? Do you think that the controversy took over the actual basketball piece of it, as far as what happened with the women's Final Four?
I think at the end, just how everybody responded to, um, I don't know. It was kind of like a Duke Fab Five type of,
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
you
I get what you're saying.
atmosphere type. You got
I
the
would
clean
maybe
cut.
or UNLV type.
Yeah, you got the clean cut playing against, the quote unquote thugs.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Eyelashes, hair, that type of stuff. It was just interesting. It was. I didn't like how they. I don't know, man. I don't understand how. I guess like being a shooter, I didn't understand how like they would not take number. South Carolina would not shoot,
Yeah.
and it was just real disrespectful. I'm just like, yo, how could you? How could you not? How could you go 36-0 and nobody don't shoot the ball?
Yeah. Yeah.
Like they just clearly packing it in, and it's not even like 5 to 10 feet away. It's like, how do you like mentally like? What do you? I don't know. I don't know how to do it. I don't know. It just looked real bad.
Right. Right.
They're like it was playing in the park where you got one dude that you can't shoot it. You're not even
Yeah.
paying attention to him. You just go to somebody else.
I mean, yeah, that is what I was doing. And Caitlin Clark was waving the girl off and saying, and all of that. So you had those examples being pointed out.
Have you ever experienced that as a coach? Anybody do that to anybody in your team? That blatant?
I mean, yeah, you'll have guys, sag off. I've never know. I don't know if it was that bad where dude is underneath the basket and somebody's out on the 3-point line. I don't know if it ever been that bad. Has it ever been, where somebody maybe got waved off and, oh yeah, he's not going to shoot that. That might have happened. It's not now the camera's not going to be focused on it the way, it's Caitlin Clark and, so definitely, you're going to get that replayed 1,000 times and people are going to analyze it, especially after, the controversy that happened with the trash talking in the next game. But, yeah, I mean, you'll see guys, sag off of people, that might have been a little bit of an extreme example of what they were doing, but hey, was it legitimate as to what they were doing as far as the percentages? Mm-hmm. And did it get into South Carolina's head a little bit as far as like, look at how they're you know what I mean? Like, did it make them a little bit uneasy? Not necessarily the strategy, but how you could call it disrespectful, but maybe just, they didn't like maybe South Carolina was used to like intimidating people, you know what I mean? Because not, and then now, they have, came up against Iowa, and I was just looking at them like, oh, y'all not even good. Y'all can't shoot, y'all can't play. And then maybe that messed South Carolina up a little bit. Like, damn, these girls
ain't even
scared of us.
You think there's some racial overtone in that? Like, y'all black girls can't shoot. Yeah.
I would think it might be just more specific to that game because that's not going to be always the case. There's plenty of black girls that can shoot, so and you wouldn't treat them like that, so or you would just get jade all day. So I think maybe it was more specific to the scouting report on South Carolina, and and it worked in that instance. But I don't think you would do that all the time if the girls can shoot. So
how would you have adjusted as a coach
to what I was doing?
Mm-hmm.
I would have tried to muddy the game up. So now it's like, okay, you don't think we can shoot? If I'm the more athletic team and I'm the stronger, bigger, faster, then yeah, I would probably just tell the girls to shoot it anyway, and then just try to crush them on the offensive glass and put it back in. So turn it into just a complete rock fight. Like, okay, like I'm not going to stand out on the perimeter and just try to pass it. No, if we're bigger, stronger, athletic, then all right, let's turn it into a rock fight. Then put it up on the glass, and then we'll just go get it and put it back in. Or you foul us, trying to go for a rebound or whatever the case is. Get to the foul line maybe, and just turn it into a physical game. Style points out the window. Don't worry about running offense. Don't just get the balls close to the basket, and then just all 5 people crash the glass. All 4. The shooter don't crash, but all 4 put it back in. So we talked about Angel Reese a little bit. So we have this stuff that happens with Caitlin Clark, right? And then we move to Jill Biden. I don't know if you saw about this, but Jill Biden saying that both teams should go to the ones that invite both teams to the White House. I think pretty much universally everybody was just like, "Come on, man!" Like, what? And like, on the one hand, do you want to give her a little bit of grace? And maybe I don't think she said it as mean-spirited, or I think she was trying to make it like a kumbaya thing, like, oh yeah, let's have both teams come, and then we can sit down and show that we just left it at bad. I don't think she said it coming from a bad place. It's definitely a faux pas, though, without question. You don't do that. The winner goes, and that's it. Like, that's the way it goes. I don't think that she said it disrespectfully or was doing it intentionally to belittle LSU. I honestly don't believe it. Well, how did you feel about that?
It was just, I don't know. I don't want to say white privilege, man, but it was just bad, man. It was just like how that's just so disrespectful for just not only LSU but just the whole. It was just disrespectful, bro. Mm-hmm. It was just like.
Do you think it was intentional? Is I guess my question.
That's the first lady. Ain't nothing being said without it being screened by certain people. You know what I'm saying? So that someone has to be like, someone had to tell her, like, that's not tradition.
Like, well, after the fact, yeah, but I'm saying, but if they just shove a hot mic in her face and she just gets to talk, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm just saying, like,
Matt, nobody could put a hot mic in your face and you just start bugging. Come on, man.
Well, I'm saying, bugging, like, it was the wrong thing that she said, but I don't think it was a bad thing. And I don't know if that makes sense. I kind of got where it was definitely wrong and not something that should happen. But I didn't look at it like, all right, she's trying to intentionally disrespect LSU. Does that make sense? You know what I'm saying? I think she said it was the wrong thing to say, but I think what she was saying was with good intentions. The intention wasn't to disrespect LSU. It was, hey, the temperature kind of got turned up a little bit on this, so why don't we just come have like a nice kumbaya moment, but not realizing by you intimating that both teams should go that you just disrespected the winner. Does that mean? And you can disagree. I'm just saying.
No, I mean how you describe it. It makes sense, but I'm not subscribing to that. It's like participation trophies, man. Like, you got to earn that. You got to earn to go to the White House.
100%.
Regardless, that's a privilege that you earn.
Absolutely, 100%.
I know nobody don't want to go, but still, like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
That's the privilege that you earn.
absolutely, absolutely. Well, what let's go to halftime. We'll take a little break, but I do want to follow up on this because
Okay.
I want to pick your brain about. So let's take a break. We'll go to halftime, and we'll be back after a short break from Live by the Three Sports podcast on the Evening Rush Network.
Hey, what's up, you guys? It's your girl, Chrissy, here to let you know that the Evening Rush Network now has an app. Yes, an app, you guys. So you can stay connected on the go and watch all your favorite podcast shows. You can download the app at Google Play Store or Apple iTunes. So spread the word. Tell a friend to tell a friend. Also, if you're looking to start a podcast and really don't know how, well, hit us up at the Evening Rush Network at gmail.com and inquire about time slots, pricings, and everything you may need to get started. We got you. Join the winning team, the Evening Rush Network. And also, download that app. What are you waiting for? Get to it.
We are back. We are back. Tyler and Coach Matt back on Live by the Three Sports podcast on the Evening Rush Network. So, Ty, I just wanted to follow up real quick on another aspect of that. So, a report came out. I'm not sure if you saw this. A report came out after the game. They were talking to Angel Reese. So, let's backtrack a little bit. So, Caitlin Clark, interviewed her after the game and everything like that. She was asked, you have a problem with what Angel Reese was doing, and the whole the John Cena thing,
Nah, Tony Yayo. We doing Tony Yayo. Come on.
right? So then pointing to the ring, the whole thing. Caitlin Clark was just like, hey, I'm good with it. It is what it is. It's competition. I talk my stuff. She talks her stuff. I'm good. We're good. No hard feelings. So that was that was cool to see. I like that. Both of them still have remaining eligibility. So that's again, I'm not a marketing person. I did take sports management in college. That was my major. So marketing, so publicity is great. I think that everything that happened this year and the star power that you have, I think will be good for women's basketball. I think people will tune in for it. Now, you do want just eyes on the screen, right? Just from a pure marketing standpoint. Are people going to be what? Now, don't get me wrong. They're both incredible basketball players. Both, Angel Reese and Caitlin Clark. Are people going to be tuned in for the drama? And, obviously they're going to hype that all up and get people to watch it. Do you think that aspect of it is good for the women's game, just for, hey, as long as it gets people watching, cool, whatever? Or do you think that it takes away, in a way, even though you might have more eyes on it, it's turning it into drama and a soap opera and not focusing on how talented the women, disrespect.
No, I don't think it takes away from the talent on the team. I think it's good for women's basketball. I think probably women's basketball might be even more competitive than men's basketball right now. It might be a bigger draw.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's good. I think it's good. They need it. They need the attention. They should be paid properly. I think it's good for women's basketball. I think it's good. It's not that much parity in women's basketball like it is in men's.
That's true.
But I think I don't know if they're ever going to get that. I don't know if they're ever going to get that way. But I think it's it's good. It's good. It's good for basketball. I ain't have a problem with it. What about you?
Okay. All right. No, I didn't have a problem with it. I just hope that it doesn't turn. Well, I mean, listen, all sports is sensationalized. That's what it is, and they try to make controversies and do all different things to get more people to tune in and stuff like that. Talk about it on talk radio and talk radio. Listen to me.
Telling your age, telling your age.
Yeah, right, exactly, right. You know what I'm saying? But on the ESPN shows and the Fox News sport, all the different podcasts, all that, it gets clicks and stuff, and but not paying attention to the skill of the players and just more focusing on the drama. I don't want to see it turn into wrestling, right, where it's just about the show and not about the substance of what's going on. But
well, they back it up though.
No question.
They back it up.
Watching Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese and the South, I mean, they're good, man. Like, there's no question about that. But let me ask you this. So now, Angel Reese, right? So then now a couple things came out after. Again, we talked about Caitlin Clark and her statement after the game. So they spoke to Angel Reese after the game, and so she commented on Twitter on what Jill Biden said. Right? Okay, you can judge if you want to how she said it. Was it disrespectful to talk about the first lady, or how she said whatever? Okay, can get past that. But then it came out that she said that Jill Biden wanted to come to the speak to LSU before the game, right? And the team turned down the invitation for Jill Biden to speak to the team before the game. Angel Reese said, and we don't know, but she said the reason why they turned it down was because Joe Biden picked LSU to get knocked off in the second round, I think, when they played Maryland. So according to her, they didn't want Jill Biden to come to the locker room and speak to them because they were mad at Joe Biden for not picking them to win the whole thing, and now they're in the Final Four. So when I heard that and she said that, I'm like, all right, like, come on, now, where are we going with this? You know what I'm saying? Like, is this what we're doing now? Like, and I'm not judging her; she's entitled to her opinion and all that. Then she makes a statement like, well, Joe Biden doesn't pick us to go to the he doesn't have, he had us getting knocked out early, so we don't want Joe Biden in the locker room. And then Joe Biden says both teams should go to the White House, so we don't want to go to the White House at all. We're gonna go, we'd rather go to the Obama's house. So now it's like, okay, now and then you could throw in there, that allegedly the coach of LSU, she was the girl, the team last year didn't want to go to the White House when they won it the last time because Trump was president, but the coach is a big Trumper, and then the team didn't want to go, but she kind of let them know, like, no, y'all are going. You know what I'm saying? And you can see the girls maybe weren't a little comfortable with that. So now you have this situation where I'm sure the coach, I'm going to assume that she's not a Joe Biden fan. So now, and then you got Angel Reese saying, well, because he didn't pick us to win the whole thing, and he had us getting knocked off. And then the other thing that we don't want to go to the White House either. We'll go to Obama's house. So you talked about, like you said, it's a privilege to go to the White House and represent the team that won. So do you think the things that have happened and came out since then, how do you think that makes, now again, it's controversial. She is who she is. I'm sure it's going to help her, popularity, or her, even people who won't popular, but now it'll bring more attention to her. So does that increase her brand, her NIL, all of that stuff? But what are your thoughts on the way she's kind of handling everything that's going on, with that aspect of it?
Well, I think that had Miss Biden just, it's hard to say because she initially invited Iowa and LSU. So it's kind of hard to gauge how she took it, because she didn't just invite LSU and then she was like, nah, I'm going to see the Obamas. It was a reaction.
Combination of everything.
What's interesting is that I didn't know that they turned it down. So now I'm thinking, okay, so you turned me down to go speak and y'all win. So I'm going to invite Iowa. I'm going to invite Iowa now just because y'all turned me down. You know what I'm saying? So it could be a little cattiness in that, a little spicy, a little like, all right, well, let's do this.
Right.
So I don't know. She don't.
But do you think that's too far now? It's like, okay, like,
No, it's energy. It's energy. Why would you want energy?
But for the same reason why you said you're the champion. It's a privilege to go to the White House and do this. And your reason, okay, the Jill Biden thing, I get that. But now you're saying part of the reason why you felt this type of way and you didn't want her to come. So before she said the thing about both teams going, you didn't want her to come you didn't want Jill Biden to come because Joe Biden didn't pick y'all to win to be in the Final Four. So now you don't want to go to the White House. You know what I mean? Like
no, but she didn't want to go to the White House because of she invited Iowa though, right?
Right, but I'm saying, she said that they didn't want Jill Biden to come to the locker room before the game because Joe Biden didn't pick them to get to the Final Four.
You married, right?
Yeah. Yes, I am.
me and your wife are friends, right? Before you married. And I'm like, nah, I don't like that dude. I'm gonna hook you up with my boy,
Mm-hmm.
right? Y'all end
Mm-hmm.
up getting married. And she's like, you know what? I'm gonna invite Tyler to the wedding.
Mm-hmm.
What you gonna say?
I think that's a little. I mean, that's a little bit. My honest opinion. I understand where you're going, and yeah, I probably wouldn't be comfortable with that. But that's way more personal. It's a bracket.
No,
So
but
basically,
he's
look,
represent.
so,
That's who
no,
she
no,
represents.
but let's and it's two different people, right? Jill Biden is not Joe Biden. So
That's a
that's
representation. Come on, man. You married, man. You know.
okay. All right, fair enough. So now is the precedent then, and if you fill out a bracket and you're the president, like think about Obama was president for 8 years. He did a bracket every single season. So if he doesn't pick the winner, then the team should boycott. He didn't. If he
Do they
didn't pick
boycott?
the whole
Nah.
thing, then you boycott. Like, come on, man. Like, what are we doing now? Is that what
But
we're
why?
doing?
But why would you want someone in your locker room that don't support you?
But so let's flip it then. And now we could talk about the race thing. We could go a bunch of different places. But if Barack Obama did not pick LSU, or any, say forget about women's basketball, let's not forget about women's basketball, but let's just switch it. If Barack Obama, if you was playing, South Carolina State is in the NCAA tournament when you were playing. Whoever the president was, but let's say it was Obama. Let's just say you're playing NCAA tournament, and y'all are playing, and say that y'all regional game is in DC, and Obama says, "I want to come talk to the South Carolina State team before the game." Are you gonna say, "Well, you had us getting bumped in the first round, so nah, don't come. We don't want to talk to you"? Would you have done that?
I don't know. Maybe I don't know. Probably not. But I don't know. I don't know. You know, women are a little more emotional, man. They're like, you know what? I think it had a lot to do with who Biden is in itself.
Perhaps,
You know, so I don't think nobody. I can't see nobody turning down Michelle Obama. I don't see. You
Okay.
know,
But so then it is. So then it is. But then does it go back to, and I get it, because this was a thing that came up when Trump was president, right? That, okay, certain teams didn't want to go and they didn't feel comfortable, and it was a political thing, and they were like, well, we don't really want to go because things that he said and done. So right, it did, so there is those blurred lines that have come out a little bit before, where I think people in the past might have been a little bit more willing to just look past certain things and just say, okay, it's the White House, you won a championship, you get invited, this is what you do, you go. I think now people feel a little, people are a little bit more comfortable with saying, okay, no, I'm not comfortable with this. I don't want to, do that, right? So that is definitely a little bit of a change. I don't know. I just, when she took it there, and then even it's just like, okay, so you didn't want Joe Biden to come to the locker room because her husband didn't pick y'all to go to the Final Four. Like, are we getting too petty now? Like, is that the precedent that we're being set, that if you're a college basketball, you do a bracket, and if you don't pick the team to win the whole thing, then you're not allowed to talk to them? Like, is that what we're doing?
no, you got to support me from day one. Don't jump on the bandwagon now. We not even supposed to be here, according to your husband.
I mean, but again, then keep that same energy. That means that so from going forward, regardless of who the president is, whether you like them or not, if they don't pick you to win the whole thing, then when you win it, you shouldn't show up. Is that the precedent that we're setting?
No, I think that's a formality. I mean, I think that's a little different. They have to go. I mean, I don't think everybody was comfortable going to the White House when Trump was there, but they had to go.
Right. But that'll be another thing to see, because now, right, when Trump was president, the LSU coach, who was a Trump supporter, pretty much let it be known, oh no, y'all are going whether you want to go or not.
Mm-hmm.
So assume that she's not a Biden supporter. And now that everything that has happened with the Iowa State thing, that's Iowa State, with the Iowa thing, and all of this, now does she keep that same energy and say, no, it's the president of the United States, we're going regardless? Or does now it become convenient to say, oh, y'all don't want to go? Okay. You know what I'm saying? Like, where is that'll be a real interesting thing to keep an eye on. You know what I
My
mean?
question: if it was Dawn Staley, how do you think that would have turned out?
In which piece of the dynamic?
With their team being invited with someone else if they won?
Oh no, I think I think she for sure would have responded. She would have taken the lead in responding more so than I think her play. I don't know if her players would even had a chance to respond. She would have been on that, no question about it. No, because she, no question, she would have been on that. Now the other piece, I don't think that she would go that far as oh, you didn't pick us to win the whole thing, so you can't come to talk to the team. I don't think that she would go that far, and I still think, I don't. If Trump was still president with South Carolina won, would they go? No, because I want to say, did they win it? Because this, she's won it before, and I think he was president. I don't think that they went. So there's that aspect of it. If the same scenario played itself out, would she go now?
But what would Biden say to them though? Like
the same thing.
It's like what's
thing. It is. That's what it always is. It's a canned thing. Oh, you guys represented represented your university. You're fine people. You're the future leaders of it. It's a canned thing. You know what I mean?
They don't got time for that. They don't got time for that shit, yo.
I mean, listen. If we're going,
you got to relate. They're not relatable.
That's true, but if it's a tradition, now again, that doesn't mean all traditions have to always stand. We don't, you don't have.
No, I'm talking about the coming to see them at halftime.
Before the game, yeah. I mean, no. That right. That's not. That's correct.
Yo, we gotta get your boy on the show, man.
Who's that?
Thomas. That's how you say his name. We got. He always supporting us, man. We gotta get him on the show one time, man.
We got to figure out. We bring.
Wait. Is he a Trump supporter?
I don't believe so. I don't believe so. He can respond on his own.
You're a Trump supporter.
I'm waiting for this one. I'm gonna give him the benefit.
Let me find out. Aqua's at LaGuardia Airport trying to get a pick up Trump flying out.
Ox, say it ain't so. Say it
Come
ain't
on,
so.
Ox. Speak up, Ox. Come on.
Say it ain't so, my brother. All right. No, that listen, but I, like you said, and I think we both said, I think all of this will definitely, again, I hope it doesn't overshadow. I'm gonna just leave it at. I hope it doesn't overshadow the skill and the ability of women, and people just tune in for the drama. And that, honestly, and I know for Angel Reese, her being maybe looked at as a villain, but her but she even said, like, I'm up to 1 million followers now after everything has happened. So even people that don't like her, maybe they still gonna pay attention. They may not buy her merchandise or whatever, support the product she's doing, but it's definitely increased her brand, and her, now she's a household name, and so it's helped her. I just hope that it doesn't turn her into a character, and people can focus on how good she is as a basketball player. Yes, you want to build your brand, and celebrity and all of that helps you to advance your goals. But I hope that it doesn't overshadow her as a player, and people are just watching her to see her, talk her stuff on the court and, do all of that. And they're really can appreciate how good she really is.
Well, remember she went to Maryland, so it might be a little more personal for her by him picking
Maryland. Yeah,
a lot more personal. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely. Yeah. But I mean, even that, like, I don't even want to get. He's an old man. He's like seriously, like come on, man. Like this, it's like, what are we doing? You know what I mean? But but we'll leave it there. So we spent a good chunk of time on that. So let's jump over to the pros. So the one I'ma just before we get into the playoff picture and the playing games, because they start next week, I'ma just ask you straight up and down. You ready? Straight up and down.
Okay.
Giannis, Joker, Embiid. Who's your MVP?
I'm gonna go Joker.
Still with Joker. Okay.
What about you?
Well, I want to hear. Please give me your you don't have to,
I don't know. I think Embiid is like campaigning too much for his campaigning for it. You know what I'm saying? And let it, Joker, you don't hear nothing about. I don't even think Giannis is saying anything. You know what I'm saying?
He's not.
Like Embiid want that shit bad, man. Like,
so you think it?
Yeah, it's like mad.
Yeah, if you have to talk about it, then it's probably not you.
Yeah, it's like you got to convince the world, like, and then you undermining my man's triple doubles, like, yo, you ain't getting that.
Yeah, right.
So I just think he do it too much. Like, he should just let his game speak for itself. Like, if he don't, like, I think if he don't get it this year, that's going to take a lot out of him.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I don't know if he could recover.
Right. And do you also think, because it is a voting thing, right? Do you think that makes him less, because it shouldn't be personal, right? It should just be about, accomplishments and all of that. But do you think that makes him less likable because of the way he's going about it? So he actually might be hurting himself a little bit with the voting?
Because you're going up against two dudes that well-mannered, people, like, you know what I'm saying? They don't get in trouble. It's just like they just play, but you outspoken, you loud, you know what I'm saying? You mad, you got a chip on your shoulder, and you in Philly, you know what I'm saying? So it's like, I don't know. It's almost like when you in boxing where you got to really beat the champ to win.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So he had to really do some, Joker is
you gotta go.
Thing. Like, you got to really do something crazy.
Yeah, you gotta go above and beyond. I agree with that. So for you, if you had your vote, you're going Joker first, Giannis second, and Embiid third.
Yep.
Okay. Actually, I think I would agree with you, and more so just from the fact that there is something to be said about the fact that all of their numbers are where they are, but I think, even though I think I would agree with you, because I think Joker's been the best player all year, I wouldn't be mad if Giannis won it, because his numbers are right there, and Milwaukee's the best team in the league. So
yeah, he creeped in. He creeped up though.
What'd you say?
He creeped up though.
He did, for sure. That's when he did that. That's why I still think I would go Joker first, just because I think Joker's been, like, now don't get me wrong, Giannis has been playing good all year, and Embiid's been playing good all year. Giannis has definitely stepped it up as of late, taking it to another level. But I think that Joker was the best player consistently throughout the whole season.
Yeah.
So that would give a slight edge to him. And I agree with you. Giannis would be second, and not maybe for the same reasons, but I do understand what you're saying. You know what I mean? And to me, it's just it's almost 1A and 1B with me, just because Milwaukee's the best. You know what I mean? Combine that.
Is Ott going to chime in? Let us know if he's a Trump supporter.
Now I will give him credit. I'm gonna try to get him to respond, but I will. He did tell me before that his son had karate tonight, so he was trying to, pop in and pop out and hear what he can hear, stuff like that. So he might be dealing with some karate situations, and that's why he can't respond.
You're a good friend, man. You're a good friend.
You know what?
Glad I met you, man. You're a good friend.
I know what I'm gonna do. We've never done this on the history of the show. I'm gonna text him right now and say, Tyler wants to know if you are chosen. Please respond.
Nah, call him, put him on speaker.
try to call him.
Try to call him, see if he pick up.
If you are a Trump supporter, feel free. I'm gonna use the voice because I'm messing up typing. Supporter, feel free to call in or respond in the comments to the accusation.
You have 7 minutes.
Yeah, you got 7 minutes to respond.
If not, you will be labeled a Trump supporter.
We're just going with the narrative.
We just go with the narrative.
All right. So, yeah. So, okay. I'm gonna sort of go. You know what? Just to be a little bit different. I'm gonna keep it the same way. Joker, because he's been the best player the whole year, but it's really close with Giannis because to me they're the best team in the conference. So I know, I asked you before. So how are we looking? Have you gotten a chance to look at the playoff picture, the play-in stuff? How are we looking with that stuff?
I have no idea. Is the Lakers in there?
Yeah, I believe something I looked at. It was the Lakers are definitely one of the teams that's locked into the because it's 7, 8, 9, and 10, right?
Yeah, the Knicks are in. Cleveland's in. Cleveland probably play the Knicks. Philly and the Nets.
Okay.
Boston, Miami. Milwaukee, Toronto. In the West, Phoenix, Golden State, Sacramento, the Clippers. That's gonna be a good series.
Yeah. Yep.
Memphis, the Pelicans. That's gonna be another good series.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Denver and the Lakers. Hmm. I hope the Lakers. No, I don't want the Lakers to lose. That'd be a good series, though.
Star power, right? You know, you want to see LeBron play. Star power.
Let me see if they got the play picture here. So what is it? What is it? What's the
So
playing game from 8?
I believe it's 7, 10, 8, and 9. I believe that's the structure.
So Miami, Atlanta, Toronto, Chicago in the East playing games. So it'd be Miami against Atlanta, Toronto against Chicago, and in the West it'll be LA versus the Pelicans, Minnesota versus the Timberwolves. Dallas, I think, is out already. I think Dallas
Okay.
is mathematically out.
Yeah. I actually read an article. You know, it's an opinion piece, but they were just talking about how, you know, Kyrie, man, they said something like the Mavericks are 4-11 when
4-15, something like that.
yeah, but I think it was 4 yeah, they're like 4-15 in their last few games, but it was something like when I'm drawing a blank. Why am I drawing a blank with my man from Dallas? Why can't I remember?
Luka?
Luka. It's crazy. It's too late. When Luka and Kyrie have played in the same game, you know, played at the same time as something, like something like they're 4-11 or 4-15 or something like that. And it's just like, you know, they were just talking about how Kyrie does have his championship, and you know, outside of all the other stuff, it's just, you know, for whatever reason, as talented as he is, and he's putting up good numbers. They said I think he's like in the 50, 40, 90 right now, is percentages. So you would think on paper, yeah, he's putting up great numbers and stuff like that, but why isn't it translating to winning? You know, and
But they're not that good, though. Dallas is not even that good, right?
yeah, but if they were just okay before, they said something about how like their record since Kyrie's gotten traded to Dallas is like their record since he's been on the team is like at the bottom of the league with the other like the Spurs and the other really bad teams in the NBA. Like they are right there with them as far as bad records since the two of them been playing together.
So now that's Kyrie's fault, right?
I'm not. I didn't write it.
No, I know. It's just crazy the narrative. Like, not even that good.
Yeah, I mean, I get it, but I mean, didn't they trade for him to make him better? Wasn't that the point?
Yeah, but I mean, him and Luka is essentially almost the same player. You know that, right?
What's that?
They almost the same player.
That's true, and that's why I was not convinced that it was going to work, because I feel I agree. They both need the ball. They both, you know, ball dominant. So yeah, I didn't, you know, on paper, yeah, it sounds great. You know, if he was playing 2K, it would be, you know,
it'd be awesome.
Yeah, if you go to work, should do pick down. Right. They go to work on 2K, but you know,
yo, I didn't respond back. Yeah, he didn't respond back.
He did. So I'll read the text. He said, LOL, I had to jump off. Not a supporter. Okay, so we have confirmation on that. I knew he wouldn't be, but we got confirmation. He was saying, I was just trying to say that I think it's crazy to not visit just because Biden didn't pick them to win it. I agree. And then he said, how do I call in next time? So I think we're going to try to.
I need to hear, I am not a Trump supporter. I don't want to hear, I'm not a supporter. That's the political answer. I am not a Trump supporter. That's what I want to hear. Then I'll be convinced.
All right, well, he said, you know, I know some might have karate next Thursday also, but he said, you know, we're going to try to work it out, and hopefully we can get him on the call in, or maybe we bring him on the stream. He can
tell him to leave the hat at home.
What's that?
Tell him to leave the red hat at home.
Yeah. Oh man, you know, it's a bug out. Totally separate from sports, but actually, unfortunately, I had to go to a funeral on Tuesday, which was the same day as the trial. And the funeral home was in Chinatown, and literally the funeral home was a block and a half away from the courthouse. And I tell you what, man, it was a bug out. Like it was. We're not gonna go get political, but it was just, I'm looking around, I'm like, this is absolutely, I can't believe this is happening like where we are. let alone we're in Chinatown. So we're, just think about that dynamic. We're in Chinatown, and all these people are walking around. But this isn't a political show. We're not going to get into that.
All right. Who is this? MJ Bell. I knew we had somebody in here.
You know what that means? It's time to go.
Yeah, it's time to close out. Time to close out.
Time to sign off. Son.
See ya.
So on behalf of Tyler, this is Coach Matt on Live by the 3 Sports Podcast on the Evening Rush Network. Catch y'all next week.
See ya.